Haunted by ghosts. True scary stories. Our scary and horror stories are designed to send chills down your spine. Enjoy the spine-tingling stories thrill. Story number 1. The Haunted Mirror. In an old, decrepit mansion, there hung a beautiful but eerie antique mirror. It was said that anyone who gazed into it late at night would see the reflection of a sinister spirit standing behind them. One fateful evening, a curious guest looked into the mirror and saw the ghostly figure. Terrified, they turned around, but no one was there. The mirror shattered, and the ghostly presence was never seen again. Story number 2. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. A weary traveler was driving along a desolate road on a stormy night when they spotted a drenched woman on the side of the road, hitchhiking. Feeling compassionate, they stopped to give her a ride. She got in, but as they drove, she grew quieter and eerier. When they reached her destination, she had disappeared from the back seat, leaving only a puddle of water. Later, they discovered that the woman had died in a car accident on that very road years ago. Story number 3. The Cursed Doll. An antique doll with lifelike eyes and porcelain skin was handed down through generations. It was said to be cursed, causing misfortune to anyone who possessed it. One night, a young girl received the doll as a gift and began experiencing terrifying nightmares. She tried to get rid of it, but it always returned. Desperate, she locked it in a chest and buried it in the backyard. Years later, a construction crew unearthed the chest, and the curse continued to haunt the town. Story number 4. The Phantom Call. Sarah had lost her husband in a tragic accident. One night, while home alone, her phone rang. The caller ID displayed her husband's name. Trembling, she answered, only to hear static and a distant, eerie voice whispering her name. Terrified, she hung up. The calls continued, each time with her husband's voice becoming more distorted. She finally contacted a paranormal expert, who revealed that her husband's spirit was trying to communicate a hidden message about his death. Story number 5. The Whistling Woods. A group of friends went camping deep in the woods. As night fell, they heard a haunting, tuneless whistling echoing through the trees. The whistling grew closer, and they realized it was coming from a shadowy figure in the darkness. Panic-stricken, they packed up and fled, but the whistling followed them. They finally made it back to civilization, but to this day, they can sometimes hear that eerie whistling in their dreams. Story number 6. The Forgotten Room. In an old, abandoned asylum, there was a room no one dared to enter. Legend had it that a malevolent spirit dwelled there. One curious teenager decided to investigate. Inside, they found a diary written by a former patient who claimed to have encountered unspeakable horrors. Suddenly, the room's door slammed shut, trapping them inside. Terrifying whispers filled the air, and ghostly figures materialized. The teenager's fate remains a mystery. Story number 7. The Haunting Melody. In a small, isolated village, there was an old piano rumored to be cursed. It was said that if you played a certain melody late at night, a ghostly figure would appear. A brave musician decided to test the legend. As the final note of the haunting melody rang out, a spectral woman in a tattered dress appeared, weeping. She revealed that she had been betrayed and murdered by her lover long ago. The musician's performance gave her peace, and she disappeared forever. Story number 8. The Unseen Guest. A family moved into a new house, unaware of its dark history. Every night, they heard footsteps and whispers in the hallway, yet no one was there. They also found mysterious messages scrawled on the walls. Desperate for answers, they invited a paranormal investigator. During a seance, they made contact with a restless spirit who had died tragically in the house. With the help of a medium, they helped the spirit move on, and the eerie occurrences ceased. Story number 9. The Mirror Twin. Julia had a twin sister who died tragically in a car accident. She always felt a deep connection with her sister and even kept a picture of them together on her dresser. One night, she woke up to see her sister standing by her bed, smiling. Julia reached out, but her hand passed through the apparition. The ghostly twin whispered, "I'll always be with you," and then disappeared into the darkness. From that night on, Julia never felt alone. Story number 10. The Haunted Painting. In an antique shop, a couple discovered a mysterious painting of a beautiful woman. They couldn't resist buying it. However, after hanging it in their home, they began experiencing strange occurrences. The woman in the painting seemed to age, her eyes following them. They learned the woman had been a tragic figure in the artist's life. Desperate to end the haunting, they returned the painting to the shop, only to find it back on their wall the next day. Story number 11. The Lighthouse Keeper's Curse. On a remote island, a lighthouse keeper lived alone, maintaining the beacon. One stormy night, a ship was in distress, and he guided it safely to shore. But the captain cursed him, accusing him of causing the shipwreck. That night, the lighthouse keeper vanished without a trace. Since then, sailors passing the island claimed to see a ghostly figure waving them towards the rocks, seeking revenge for the curse. Story number 12. The Cursed Theater. An old, abandoned theater was rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a famous actress who died under mysterious circumstances during her final performance. One night, a group of actors decided to hold a séance on the theater stage. As they conjured the spirit, the lights flickered, and a chilling voice filled the theater, recounting the events leading to the actress's death. The ghostly performance left the actors terrified and convinced that the theater was cursed. Story number 13. The Mirror in the Attic. In an old attic, a dusty, ornate mirror stood covered by a tattered sheet. When a family moved into the house, they uncovered it. At night, they would hear faint whispers and see ghostly figures in the mirror's reflection. One day, they decided to break the mirror, hoping to end the haunting. As it shattered, a bone-chilling wail filled the room, and the spirits from within were released, forever haunting the house. Story number 14. The Phantom Train. In a remote countryside, a phantom train was said to appear on moonless nights. Those who boarded it never returned. One curious traveler decided to explore the legend and hopped on the train. The interior was filled with eerie, silent passengers. As the train approached an abandoned station, he realized the passengers were all ghosts, staring at him. Panicked, he jumped from the moving train and narrowly escaped the same fate. Story number 15. The Whispering Forest. A group of hikers ventured deep into a dense forest rumored to be haunted. As night fell, they heard soft whispers all around them. The whispers grew louder, and the trees seemed to close in. Suddenly, ghostly apparitions emerged from the trees, urging them to leave. Terrified, the hikers fled, and as they reached the forest's edge, the whispers faded into silence. Story number 16. The Phantom Ship. A coastal town had tales of a ghost ship that appeared during storms. One night, a fisherman spotted the phantom vessel, crewed by ghostly figures, beckoning him to come aboard. Against his better judgment, he did. The ship sailed through a raging storm and reached a hidden island. There, he discovered the lost souls of shipwrecked sailors who had been lured by the same phantom ship. He helped them find peace and returned safely, forever haunted by the experience. Story number 17. The Haunted Library. A librarian in an old, forgotten library noticed books mysteriously rearranging themselves overnight. Strange noises and whispers echoed through the stacks. Determined to uncover the truth, the librarian delved into the library's history and discovered it was built upon an ancient burial ground. During a late-night investigation, they encountered ghostly apparitions of long-lost scholars and readers, forever seeking knowledge beyond the grave. Story number 18. The Forgotten Mansion. A curious urban explorer ventured into an abandoned mansion that had been empty for decades. As they explored the darkened halls, they heard faint music playing from the grand ballroom. When they entered, they saw a ghostly party in full swing. Dancers in old-fashioned attire whirled around, and the air was filled with laughter. Suddenly, the music stopped, and all the ghostly figures turned to stare at the explorer, beckoning them to join the never-ending party. Story number 19. The Vanishing Town Square. A traveler arrived in a picturesque town known for its beautiful town square. When they entered the square, they saw people dressed in old-fashioned attire, going about their business. The townsfolk seemed oblivious to the traveler's presence. Suddenly, the clock tower chimed midnight, and the entire square faded away, leaving the traveler standing alone in an empty field. They had unwittingly stepped into a ghostly glimpse of the past. Story number 20. The Phantom Phone Calls. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, residents started receiving mysterious phone calls in the middle of the night. When they answered, they heard garbled voices and eerie laughter. Some claimed they could hear the whispers of lost souls. No one could trace the calls back to a source, and the chilling phone calls continued, leaving the community in a state of perpetual fear. The end.